welcome to day 2 of our Amazon Q4 Income Accelerator Workshop. We're excited to talk about some things that can help you with this Q4 in 2025. I know yesterday we asked people's experience with Q4 so far. Many people said that this was their first Q4. Others shared some different experiences, but we do want to check our chat. Make sure it's set up correctly. I just clicked all the buttons to make sure everyone can chat with one another, but I want to make sure it's working. So let me know in the chat. Um, what is your biggest concern or challenge when it comes to thinking about sourcing and selling on Amazon during Q4? What's your biggest concern if this is your first Q4 about Q4? But if you've experienced it in the past, and you've had some challenges. What has been some of your biggest challenges? We would like to know that in the chat because today's topic is overcoming the 4 biggest challenges when it comes to sourcing and making money on Amazon during Q4. There's a lot of mistakes that are made by some sellers. We want to help you avoid that. We want you to be able to maximize your time because Q4 is the most wonderful time of the year. And if you're not careful, I will break out into song. Uh,
No,
okay,
you
fine.
usually do. I should just let you be free, but
Yeah, but what's your biggest concern about Q4? We want to hear from you. That way we can, uh, you know, just get an idea of what your biggest challenges are and help you out along the way. So that'll be really good. Rebecca, why don't you tell everyone how to handle the chat or questions for today's session?
yes. I'm looking at my other monitor if anybody's wondering why I'm turned this way. So I'm going to be in the chat while Steven's doing the teaching part of the session at the beginning here. I'll have my camera and microphone turned off, but I will be in the chat. I will be helping with any questions that come up, and I will be compiling all of the questions that y'all are asking for the Q&A time. If I need to interrupt him, if it's like time sensitive that, we need to clarify or something, I'll interrupt him. But otherwise, I'm going to save all of the questions and get them all organized for the end of the Q&A, for the end of the session during the Q&A. So don't worry if you're asking questions and you're like, why are they not answering? It's because I'm behind the scenes getting it all organized and I will ask the questions. So use the chat to do that. Make sure that you have your chat set to go to everyone and not just hosts and panelists so that everyone can see. And then you can also use the Q&A box if you want to do that. I'm keeping an eye on that as well. And that's how, if you want to ask an anonymous question, you can do that in the Q&A box. And no one will know, including me, who it came from.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, thank you for taking care of that and organizing the questions and stuff and letting me just focus on the teaching content and stuff. But of course, if anyone asks a question that like needs a clarification ASAP, I feel like it's weird telling you this, but I will give you permission to interrupt me if that is the
Yeah.
case.
I don't need permission, but thank you for saying that's okay. Also, don't forget, don't share your screen with your email or something random like that.
Why would you
Not
ever
that that's ever happened.
suggest that was even a possibility? I don't know. But yeah, just one reminder, make sure you put your whatever your biggest challenge or concern is about
Yep.
Q4 in the chats.
Yep.
And then of course, if you got questions, put them in the chat. We'd love to help you.
I'm also going to drop the link again for the workbook in case you don't have that in the chat, but it's fulltimefba.com/Q4 workbook.
Yeah,
All
it's a
right.
cute little workbook and just a few pages where you can write your notes and your breakthroughs and your next steps. And we can move over to the page where we talk about day 2, your biggest challenges. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. So let's jump into it. A lot of times people, when they experience Q4, especially for the first time, they hear how awesome it is. And it is awesome. And what's really great about selling on Amazon during Q4 is that even if you do not do anything differently, you're still going to experience more sales and more profits in Q4. But we don't want you just to experience a little increase in sales or a little increase in profits. We want to maximize it. I mean, it's like if you had someone famous coming to town and is going to hang out with you, you would want to make sure that you want to make sure that you spent as much time as possible with that famous person, and not be like totally busy with a bunch of other different things. So we want to maximize our time with the Q4 possibility and opportunity that is coming right around the corner, because we're doing this day two workshop on September 17th. If you're watching this on the replay, that's when this session was recorded. And uh, we understand December is when a bunch of sales happen, November a bunch of sales, but October can also be really good. And one of the most important things for you to do in Q4 is to stock up on inventory early, and send in your inventory to Amazon. So because a lot of times when we send our inventory to Amazon, Amazon decides, okay, I don't want it just in this one warehouse. I want it in 15 different warehouses. And on Amazon's dime, they will pay to distribute that, to do a warehouse transfer to different. So even if your stuff goes live on Amazon in a week, it might take another week for it to finally get to its final destination. So you want to make sure you're stocking up early. So that's a huge mistake some people make, is thinking, oh, I can wait till December. Now, if you're waiting until December to send in the bulk of your Q4 inventory, obviously Christmas decor type of stuff or holiday decor, that's way too late. I mean, Christmas decor is already showing up in local retail stores. That's your sign that you need to be sending in. If you're selling seasonal holiday stuff, to send it in as soon as possible. But we also know that every single category on Amazon increases in sales, increases in profits um, during Q4. So we want to maximize that. So we are going to talk through four of what I think and what I've seen and what I've experienced and what I've helped people with. Four of the biggest challenges when it comes to running an Amazon business during Q4. But not just talk about the problems, because that's going to be a downer, but we're also going to talk about ways that you can overcome those challenges, the ways that you can improve your chances of selling more stuff and making more money on Amazon. So, the very first challenge is a challenge most Amazon sellers have year-round, but it is especially painful during Q4, and that is the challenge of not being approved to sell a product that you found that you can make money on. That's like one of the biggest things that annoy me as an Amazon seller. I found a product. It's profitable. It's selling quickly. It has a great sales rank. And Amazon's like, "Nope, sorry. You can't sell it. You're not allowed to." So, when it comes to that problem, especially in Q4, it's a problem. Um, but there are ways that you can get around it and solve this problem. In fact, last month in our Momentum FBA program, we released a mini course called the Restriction Buster, which goes in depth into how to increase your chances to getting approved to sell more items. What the process is when you see that you're not approved to sell more to sell a certain brand, and how you can start to increase the brand names that you're able to be approved and allowed to sell on Amazon. And so, if you are a part of Momentum FBA, I totally recommend that. Do a deep dive on that with our mini course, and our co-working session, walking through a lot of different aspects of that problem and being able to get past it. But I will tell you my top suggestion: if you are finding an item that you are not approved to sell on Amazon, always right then and there, whether you're standing in the retail store aisle or you're on your computer doing online arbitrage, always apply to sell that brand. Don't just see you need approval to sell this brand and think, well, I got to put this back on the shelf or I got to take this out of my cart online. No, always apply to be approved to sell that brand, because possibly your seller metrics will be good enough to get you approved. I wish Amazon would just like automatically approve people well, actually I don't wish this. When I first started dealing with restrictions, I used to think, I wish Amazon would just automatically approve me with everything that I would be allowed to sell because my metrics are good enough. But now I think, no, I do not want Amazon to automatically approve everyone who is qualified to sell that brand. The reason why? That's just more competition for me. But I want you to know that if you are able to go through that process, it is like a 15 to 20-second process to see if your seller metrics selling on Amazon can get you approved. Sometimes it's just seeking approval is good enough for that brand. Sometimes that brand wants you to have 3 months of experience selling on Amazon. Sometimes only 6 months of seller experience. And there's a lot of different parameters. We go into that in the Restriction Buster mini course as a part of Momentum FBA that we focused on last month. But always apply, because the cool thing about always applying for a brand, even if you do not get immediate approval, Amazon saves that application in draft form, and you can go back into your Seller Central and reapply every few months. Maybe your seller metrics finally are good enough to get you approved. So always go through that process on a loop. Again, we go deep into this in our Momentum FBA mini course called the Restriction Buster, because that's what it do. It busts through so many restrictions. And now is it going to bust through every single one? No, but it's going to increase your chances and help you sell more stuff on Amazon. And the lazy Amazon sellers that are out there who just see you are not approved and think that's the end of the line, you're going to be able to make more money than them because you will know the process. So the restriction process, restricted products, being not allowed to sell an item on Amazon, that is a problem that some Amazon sellers have during Q4. Um, but there is a way to get around it and increase your chances. So the second biggest challenge during Q4 that some Amazon sellers have is that they can't find the hot toy. Maybe there's a super hot toy that's like all the rage, all the kids want it. It's like sold out in stores. I want to get the hot toy. Well, if you remember from yesterday's day one session, if you didn't, I highly recommend checking it out before the replays come down. You can go to fulltimefba.com/replays to see the yesterday's session. But in yesterday's session, I talked about multiple strategies that you can use to find the hard to find hot toys. But my main tip for you getting past not being able to find the hot toys is that sometimes there is more money to be made with the accessories for the main hot toy. So I don't know if you know this. A lot of times some stores will put together a hot toy catalog. Like Walmart would do this, Best Buy would do this. There's other stores that do this. Amazon even did this. Um, the toys that the retailer expects to be super hot, super popular. Um, and those I've given you some strategies on yesterday's call of how you can increase your chances of finding those hot toys, but many times we still can't find them. They're so hot and so in demand that manufacturers are not able to make as many as they want as the demand, demands. That's why it's called demand. But what is really profitable that a lot of resellers ignore are the accessories to that hot toy. So like for an example, there used to be a Leapfrog electronic zoo, and that was going to be the hot toy. I think this was like 5 or 6 years ago. It was going to be the hot toy for that year. A Leapfrog, that's the brand name, electronic zoo. And it had like it came with one free animal, I think like a rhinoceros. And the rhinoceros can go around the zoo and it would make noises and make whatever sound a rhinoceros makes and sing a really annoying song. Because you can't be an electronic children's toy without having an annoying song with it. But that was the hot toy. But what was the actual really big money maker were the accessories, because that zoo just came with one animal. And if you know anything about zoos, a zoo with only one animal is not a very fun zoo. So they sold all the other kinds of animals that had different songs and different shapes and different tunes that went along with them and different things that they would say. Because in the Leapfrog world, animals talk, and that's fun for kids. So I found out that there are a handful of different animals that were selling for 3 to 4 times as much on Amazon than they were in store. And one of them that was the short print that the company didn't make as many of was the little talking monkey. For some reason, the monkey was not as made as much as the lion or the tiger or the bear. Oh my. And so all these different animals, the monkey was selling for like 7 or 8 times more on Amazon than it was in stores. And so If you see a hot toy, always see if there are accessories to that hot toy. Like if there's a particular Barbie dream house that's like all the rage, see if there's other Barbie accessories that are lower priced, not as much in demand, but still kids would want to have a part of that bigger toy. Because parents buy the big toy, and then grandparents be like, "Well, what are you getting them? And what can I do that matches that?" And so, those lower priced accessories, not always, but double check a Keepograph, can be a really good opportunity to find a really good money maker during Q4. So the accessories are what I like to look at after I've figured out what the hot toys are. So that's a strategy that can work for you in Q4. And sometimes those items are still profitable well into January and February. Because again, the kids got the main big huge toy. And most stores will have enough of the main big huge toy. I mean, that's why they put them in these catalogs because they're gonna try to stock up on them, the main big one. Um, and so the smaller items that most people aren't looking at, resellers aren't looking at, they'll still sell really well in January and February and March because those kids want those accessories. They get to school, back to school after their break of Christmas vacation, and they're like, "Oh, I got the new Leapfrog Zoo." Like, "Oh, I did too." It's like, "Well, I got the monkey." "Well, I didn't get the monkey." Then I go, "Mom, I want the monkey." And parents go buy the toys for their kids that they're asking for, and we will gladly stock up our inventory for them. So that's how you can kind of get past not being able to find the hot toy. First, I gave you some strategies on how you could possibly find the hot toy yesterday's call. And then today, I'm telling you, look for the accessories of the bigger hot toy to see if you can find things that are profitable with that. All right, the third challenge that we're going to talk about today when it comes to Q4, and I've even seen this in the chat already, um, is not having the time to dedicate to Q4 Amazon like you wish you would. Because it's very, very clear. The more time you spend on your Amazon business in Q4, the more money you're going to make. And we want to make sure you're using that time wisely and making wise decisions. And so when it comes to not having the amount of time, there's another way to look at that because we will always find time for things that are important to us. Always. So, if making good money on Amazon during Q4 is important to you, you will find time to be able to work into that because there's a lot of ways that we spend our time that might not be the best use of our time during Q4. Things like you know, spending 3 or 4 hours of watching TV at night. Okay, I love watching TV with my wife at night. We've got certain shows that we like to watch together, but sometimes during Q4, we might pause that for 1 or 2 nights a week and spend time working because of the opportunity that Q4 brings us, doing online arbitrage or wholesale or retail arbitrage. Um, maybe there's times where you decide, okay, I'm gonna um, maybe not do as many end of year or holiday parties or Christmas parties because I'm going to be working on my business. Now, I'm not saying only work on your Amazon business, ignore all your friends, ignore your family, and focus completely on your Amazon business. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to prioritize your time and maybe not do everything. Maybe not feel obligated to go to everything that you are invited to for yourself, your spouse, your kids. Still spend time with your family. It is not, Q4 is never more important that than your family or friends, but sometimes it's okay to take a break. I mean, there's probably times when your friends are like, "You know what? I'd love to hang out tonight, but I got to work." And you respect that. But as an Amazon seller, it that we have the same opportunity to say, "You know what? I know we're going to get together in 2 weeks, so I can't get together tonight because I have to work. but I look forward to spending time with you in a couple weeks. So we can find time for the things that are important to us. And you know what? If spending as much time as possible with your friends are more important, then follow through with that. Just know it's not going to turn into dollar bills as much as if you were able to spend more time on your Amazon business. So that is the third challenge, not having enough time. I totally understand there are people who are like, I'm sorry, Stephen, I work a full-time job. I'm a parent to multiple kids. It is very hard for me to squeeze out any time. And I totally understand that. Um, and you still also need brain breaks where you're not on like full alert at all times. But still, there might be something that you could do to squeeze out a little bit more time, and work through what you're doing with Amazon on Q4. So that's the third one. The first one again was not getting approved to sell all the items. The second one, I can't find the hot toy. The third one, I don't have enough time. And the fourth thing that really is a challenge for a lot of Amazon sellers with Q4 is this one. I don't have the skills or know-how to maximize my Q4 sales. I don't know what those are. I don't know what it is, what I should prioritize, where I should go, what tools I should use. Um, I don't know what I should do and what steps to do them in. So maybe this is your first Q4 and you're like, so man, this it sounds awesome. Q4, many great money making opportunity. I just don't know what to do. Well, there's a couple different solutions for you that can help out with that. First off, just experiencing Q4 for the first time, you're going to learn a lot just by going out there, finding inventory, sending it to Amazon. You're going to learn a ton that way. A second thing that you can do is be a part of our Momentum FBA program. Momentum FBA, real quickly, is a monthly subscription with no contracts, no commitment, that you get access to things that we've done in the past that are they're waiting for you to access. But every week of the month, or excuse me, every single month in Momentum FBA, in week one, we have a mini course drop. Boom, there's a mini course teaching you a specific skill or mindset, um, or something you need to learn to be able to sell on Amazon. Week two, we have a co-working session, live co-working session where we work through certain aspects live with open Q&A, where you can ask questions about that specific week one topic. Like for example, this month our topic was retail arbitrage. And so week one, we have the retail arbitrage mini course drop. Week two, we did a co-working session where we talked about how to buy retail arbitrage tax-free, how to get your sales tax certificate, how to go to a store and get set up to buy stuff tax-free. Week number three, every single month is a monthly focused training. The things you need to know about that month of the year to be ready for the months ahead. Um, Fee changes, rule changes, new opportunities, the really good timely information that you need to know to maximize your profits. And then the fourth week of the month is another live call where it's like a State of the Union. What's up with Amazon right now? What are the latest things that are working in Amazon businesses right now that you need to know right now? It's a very timely opportunity. So for once a week for 4 weeks, every single month, mini course drop, co-working session with Q&A, monthly focus on that month of the year, and then a growth session, a monthly growth session of what's working best with Amazon sellers. Um, and then after that, every other month we have a 30-day sprint or a 7-day sprint, but some kind of sprint focused on a specific skill. Like for this month, September, it's a retail arbitrage sprint, walking you through, hey, you want to do retail arbitrage? Great. Here's what you do on day one. Here's what you do on day two. And giving you a 30 to 60-minute exercise or task to complete. So, because a lot of times people are like, retail arbitrage, I don't even know where to begin. Well, now you can. Momentum FBA with our 30-day retail arbitrage sprint works out. You finally no longer have to worry about what it is you need to do. So that's really good. And so you can sign up for Momentum FBA. It's on sale right now, fultonfba.com/momentum. But what is really cool, and we forgot to mention it yesterday, you're like, I don't have the skills or the know-how to be able to really master Q4. Well, guess what? We have a master class for those in Momentum FBA called How to Have a Six-Figure Q4. So we're going to be walking through how to have a six-figure Q4 in our Momentum FBA. So it's going to be a really good masterclass walking you through like how what things to focus on, what things to ignore, more details about how to find the hot toys, the math that is involved. I'm sorry if you don't like math, but if you want to have a six-figure Q4, there's a little bit of math involved. We walk you through how to do the math. We're going to be talking about how to have a six-figure in sales. We are even going to talk about how to have six figures in profits. Now, this is not something that might help you out to have a six-figure Q4 in 2025. I mean, it's possible, but more likely the best way that you could prepare for Q4 is starting in about August and September. So we're going to have that masterclass for you. If you're not able to make it live for the masterclass, there will be a replay for those who sign up for Momentum FBA, but it is a bonus for people who sign up for Momentum FBA. It is this how to have a six-figure Q4 masterclass. It is a really awesome opportunity for you to watch this year to have your best Q4 ever this year. Watch again next year, maybe around July or August, to be able to plan for what you need to do the following Q4. So that is what is up with Momentum FBA and this bonus. And the last thing I want to share with you before we get into questions, the last thing on your little worksheet here. My next action step is what? We've talked about a lot of different things in this session today. What is your next step? Is it going to be signing up for Momentum FBA? Is it I want to start that retail arbitrage sprint? Maybe it's I want to, do something else. I actually want to go out to a store. I keep talking about it. I've never actually been to a store. I'm actually going to go find some inventory. What is your next step? Put that in your notes so that you know and have accountability, so that yourself right now is going to be able to keep your future self accountable by having actual proof of what your next step is going to be. So that's what I wanted to share with you about how to overcome the biggest four challenges that I've seen and experienced and have helped coach people through when it comes to Q4. And so now we're going to transition to our next part of our class.
Yeah, I wanted to say to you, like as we're getting into this Q&A time first, I wanted to say be sure that you're asking your questions. If you're here live, ask your questions in the chat. Ask them in the Q&A box. I'm organizing all of that. I've got my document ready with what I've got so far. If you're watching on the replay, you can also email in a question, fulltimefba.com/contact. And if you have a question about Momentum FBA or about what we are covering today with the different challenges that you might be facing or concerns, even if it's not like a big challenge, it's still a concern, something that you're wondering how to work through, fulltimefba.com/contact is the way to ask those questions. And I just wanted to kind of, before I I'm going to give everybody a little bit of time to ask more questions so I can get it all organized. But before I do that, I just wanted to go back to what you were saying about like how to have a six-figure Q4 might not be attainable for you this year.
Right.
But what we're teaching in the master class is not something that you need for next year. It's something that you need for this year so that you can have a really solid five-figure Q4
Right.
this year and then go into 2026 compounding all of that until you get to 2024 or 20, what year are we in? Until you get to 2026 Q4, and then you can use those things that you put into practice this year, what you're practicing this year to get that big six-figure Q4 next year. And very attainable to take what you're learning this Q4 regardless of what you do next Q4 to have a six-figure 2026
Yes.
or higher. So I didn't want you to think that like, oh, I'm just getting started. I don't need that masterclass. I can wait to sign up for Momentum
Oh,
FBA.
no, 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 no,
I don't
no.
need to do that. No, go ahead and sign up, get access to that masterclass, watch it. There are things that you will be able, it's not that it's so advanced that you can't use it. It is it's very practical information regardless of what level you're at. And also you want to get access to all the other modules and sessions that we'll be having coming up. And you want to lock in that $49. That's really a big deal as well, because the price will be going back to the regular price after we're finished with the workshop. And you really want to lock in that price so that you're getting the most for your money there. Okay, so keep the questions coming. I'm getting them all organized. And now I'm looking on my screen for my document. Okay, so things that were coming in earlier when you were going through the challenges and when we were asking people to put their challenges in the chat. What is the best way to find inventory online? Finding inventory online was one of the challenges that was mentioned, and that's always a big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple different strategies. When people are first beginning, usually they like to go to a website that they have experience and comfortability. Is that a word? Comfortability?
Not really.
I like making up words, you know that. So they feel comfortable from that website. They know already where the clearance section is. They know what to click on to find the stuff that's on sale. Most people start off that way when they
Familiarity.
familiarity. There you go. Thank you, my thesaurus wife. Um, making real words that trump my made up words. Anyway, uh, so yeah, so if you're familiar with it, you can go there because you know where to go. You might even be aware of like what something is a really good deal, and be able to go buy it at that store because you're able to see that it's profitable to sell on Amazon. When it comes to online arbitrage, we use a tool called RevSeller, fulltimefba.com/RevSeller to check it out. But it's like a little, um,
From extension.
yeah, it's a Chrome extension that basically on every Amazon sales page, right under the title, it puts in a box with a fee calculator for Amazon sellers and other lots of other information that can help you make a make a quality sourcing decision. And we do that so that we kind of know, okay, after all the Amazon fees, how much am I going to make? Am I buying this cheaper than what I'm going to make? Then there you go. There's a win. Um, and so that's usually how most people start off and get going. But then, as always, it's good to expand your horizons, find new stores that you have never shopped at before. Usually, I like to look at places that have, like, if it's a store that tries to have everything, it's really hard to find profitable stuff to sell on those stores on a consistent basis, especially as a replen. But if it's a store that's like, hey, this store is all about makeup, or this store is all about camping supplies, or this store is all, things like that online, then there's a little bit more opportunity, at least from my experience.
I will say too, we do offer a service called OA Success Leads. That's a really great way to get leads sent to you every day. We have some spots available in it right now we don't always have spots available because we keep it capped so that the leads aren't going out to too many people and those products get saturated. But we have a VA team that puts together leads of online arbitrage items every day. And I think Stephen just put the link for that in the chat. But for those of you who are watching on the replay, it's fulltimefba.com/OA success. And yeah, so if you want to check that out as well, if you're really into doing online arbitrage, it's a great way to get a jumping off point every day to get items sent to you that you can sell and that you can also use as kind of that springboard into doing more research in the stores that that our VAs were looking at and giving you the information, and you can just take it and run with it and use that information as you will. But yeah, fulltimefba.com/OA success.
Yeah, and my favorite thing is like when our VA also finds a coupon code that matches where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get maybe what is being suggested, but I'm also gonna kind of look at what else is available at that particular store. because I got a coupon code.
That's that might be your favorite thing. My favorite thing is when they send you leads that are full price and you find a replen. Because it's hard
Yes.
to find replens if you're relying on coupon codes
Yep.
or timely sales. That's not something that might be profitable again next week if you run out of stock and need to go back. But
Yep.
if they're sending, which they do all the time, sending a lead
Yep.
that is not based on a coupon code or a sale price, then you just found a replen potential.
Yep. Yep. I love replens.
Okay, so I'm new to selling on Amazon. Wanted to ask about selling brand name products. Will I want to have sales and reviews on other products first before Amazon will approve me to sell a branded item?
So when it comes to getting approved to sell a branded item, a lot of people assume that Amazon sets up those parameters. They don't. The brand actually sets up the parameters. So the brand might set up parameters of the seller needs to have this much of experience selling on Amazon, or the seller needs to have this minimum positive feedbacks, or this minimum feedback percentage, or like or whatever kind of parameters
Who
that
knows
they
what
have.
kind of
Yeah, and
parameters
that's something we have no access to. And so
as
we
sellers. The sellers just don't know what that is.
Right. So what we teach and coach our students to do is to always work on increasing your metrics. Always increase, you're making sure you have as much feedback as you can, and make sure that you try to delete or remove, if you can within Amazon's rules, negative feedback. And and increase the time that you're spending on Amazon, making sure that you like almost always have, like, even if you need to take a break from Amazon, always having like one or two things in stock so that your account does not go inactive. And to keep that ticking clock that is waiting for you to be selling on Amazon and having more experience that you can get more approved. Again, we go into a lot more of that in the Restriction Buster mini course from August's main focus in Momentum FBA. You can check that out.
So, along those same lines, what would you give as advice? Because we also had one of the challenges that was mentioned is that with all of these restrictions that are coming up during Q4 that weren't there before, what's your best advice for somebody who is encountering, well, I used to be ungated. And I'm not saying about like, what do you do with your inventory that's already in stock, but like, what do you do if you're sourcing and you keep running into this problem of, well, I wasn't restricted in this brand before, but now I am. Does that make sense?
Right. Because yeah, some brands will tighten up their parameters temporarily during Q4, and then they will kind of loosen them up after Q4 has passed. And so yeah, it's definitely a time to pivot from that brand. I'd always still try to seek approval, and then every single month go back in and try to reapply. We go into that in our Restriction Buster mini course on how to do that. But for all the items that we are restricted from selling on Amazon, there are still millions of items that we are approved and we can sell and have access. Like if I ever hear someone say everything is restricted, I'm like, okay, it might feel that way, but it's not true. And so if that's your particular situation in your case, then I would continue to go looking for sourcing items for the items that you are approved to sell. I might even suggest temporarily buying items to sell, even if it's not that you're going to lose money, but even if it's not profitable enough to make money, it's still you can still have it, you can still sell it, you can still earn points of experience points on Amazon. Even if you're not making money, it's giving you more experience points. That's like a
Yeah,
video game.
please do not hear us say to like sell items at a loss in order
Right.
to do this.
No,
But,
that's not a plan.
if you're making a dollar or two off of it and your ROI is really low and not like your eventual goal, it's still moving you towards the goal of being able to get better metrics and to get established metrics if you're newer even.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have a follow-up question that I feel like is just right in line with that as well. If nobody will work with you because you don't have any sales, how do you get started when you have none of the parameters these folks want? And this was in follow-up to selling newer seller wanting to sell brand named products. And like, just like what Stephen was saying, there are tons of products out there that are not going to be restricted to you, even as a newer seller, and focusing on finding them rather than being discouraged that, oh, this big name brand. Because when you say name brand, and correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but like I'm thinking like a big household name type brand. And the reality is for smaller sellers like us, and when I say smaller, I mean we're not doing like, 8 figures of sale. Like
Right.
we're not doing like massive amounts of sales like Lego is going to want us to place a wholesale account type, a wholesale order type size. You know what I'm saying? Like you can still find smaller brands, and not small like they're doing piddly sales, but like they're still selling millions of units.
Yeah.
They're looking for third party sellers to work with. They are out there. It does take time to build up. If you're doing wholesale, you're gonna have to work at like being able to open those accounts even with the
Hmm.
lack of experience yet. But it is possible. People do it all the time. We did it,
Yeah.
and we continue to work with brands that are smaller, that are not household names, and are often going to be way more profitable for you than trying to chase after something that is this elusive big name brand. And so just having this mindset of, okay, so I can't sell Nike or something, like that's the one that everybody's always like, but how do I sell Nike? Well, you're not going to be able to right now. I don't
Yeah,
know if
and
you're
even if you could, the competition is so great because everyone
right.
wants to sell Nike that it's probably not going to work out.
Right. So you're looking for brands and it requires research. That's what I think that people get scared off from. But if you're here on this call right now or you're watching the replay, you are not the type of person who is going to be lazy about like, I don't feel like doing research. You're here learning and trying to and asking questions and trying to understand the market and how to get in on what's going on Amazon right now. And so just understand that it's going to require research. You can do that. You can research to find these smaller brands that are open to other sellers. If you're not doing wholesale, if you're like, I'm not ready for that yet, or I don't want to do that, I want to do retail or online arbitrage, it's possible to find brands in stores as
Yep.
well that are open, that are not restricted for you right now. It's hard. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. It's not going to be like it was in 2013 when everything was wide open. It wasn't. That's actually a fallacy. I hear people saying it used to be so good. No, that back then you had to get ungated for entire categories,
Right.
and it was hard. It was really hard. So things are gonna be hard for you in ways that they might not have been before, but they're also easier in so many ways right now than they were before. And it is possible to find inventory. We have people all of the time that we're working with that are just getting started. Stephen was on a call last night with um, coaching clients. Was that last night or yesterday? Yeah, last night with coaching clients who are getting their first sales. Like they just got started and they're getting their first sales. Are they doing retail or online arbitrage, or are they doing wholesale, Stephen?
They're doing both retail and online right now.
Okay, so they're not doing this with brand partnerships. They are doing it by going out into stores or looking online at stores, and they're brand new, but they're finding inventory that they can sell.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to make sure everyone knows, like the most money we have made on Amazon is selling items that are branded that I have never heard of. And
Until we
so
did the research.
exactly,
We're like, what
exactly.
is this? I'll sell it.
And so I really think a lot of people are like doing retail arbitrage and they're like, what should I scan? And they see a certain item and they're like, I'd never heard of this brand before, and they put it back on the shelf without even taking 5 seconds to scan it to see if it's profitable.
Or if
And
it's selling to see if
right.
it has a really good sales rank history. That means somebody's buying it. That means that even if you've never heard of it, somebody has and they want it.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times you talk yourself out of an opportunity before yeah, no, I can't even talk about it right now. Yeah. Yep.
All right, so next question. Okay, this one kind of fits in with what you were talking about a minute ago about making sure that well, I won't. I haven't sold in a couple of years. Has a lot changed since over this time. And also, I would add to that, so if somebody is coming back from having an account that they weren't using, they used to weren't using it, wanting to use it again, and we have somebody just like this in Momentum FBA, what's your best advice for them?
So if they've been selling before, but they haven't sold in a while, um, and they're wanting to get back into it, well, basically, if your Amazon account has been inactive, and I think after 2 or 3 months of no inventory or no sales, an account could go inactive, then you'll have to reactivate it. And so that's the process, basically, of saying, yes, I'm still the original seller. Here's proof that I'm real. Um, there are certain items that you might have been approved for in the past, so you're going to want to double check when you start sourcing again. But you can get, I feel like the clock doesn't completely start over at like day one again. So you're still further along than most people who just started, like if they just started today. But it might have gone back just a little bit. You'll have to start getting more consistency going. But if you decide that you're going to go in, you need to have that commitment that I'm going to stick with it and continue to press on and know that whatever hurdles that you have, these hurdles can be eventually overcome if you stick with it, and press on with that. Yeah, there's might be little tweaks and changes that are a little bit different, but the overall mindset and goal is still the same.
Yeah, I would do a refresher on guidelines. And what is the quick link that we have that takes them to the Seller Central guidelines, Stephen?
FultonFBA.com/guidelines.
There you go. So do a quick refresher on guidelines. If you've never sat down and like read through the guidelines for selling on Amazon, it's a good idea to do that. Just to make sure that you're following them all, because that's our biggest piece of advice that we always will give to sellers is don't break the rules. It is not worth risking your account. Your seller account is so precious. It's your livelihood if you build your business the right way, and you don't want to mess around with breaking the rules. So know the guidelines.
Yep, absolutely, for sure.
All right, Didier, we're so glad you're here. We'll see you tomorrow too. Oh, that he's leaving. Okay, so a couple more questions before we wrap up, and last call for questions in the chat if you're here live. Again, if you are watching the replay and have any questions, fulltimefba.com/contact. If you're ready to sign up for Momentum FBA and rock this Q4, fulltimefba.com/momentum. We've got the bonus masterclass that's coming up that you can only have access to inside Momentum FBA next week. It's next Tuesday.
Yes.
And then if you sign up while we are doing the workshop, it is $49 a month, and that's a discount of $10 a month off of our regular price, and you lock that price in for life. You can even do an annual membership and get a month free. That's also a really good option, especially if you've got the cash flow for it right now.
Yes.
All right. So how do you know how many items to send in right now so that you don't sell out, but you don't end up with extra in the warehouses after December?
Yeah, that is when you have a decent understanding of a Keepa graph. Keepa, FultonFBA.com/Keepa, is a tool that shows you the price history and sales rank history of almost every single item on Amazon. And if you need a little introductory video of how to understand it, FultonFBA.com/read Keepa. I'll walk you through that. But with that, you can kind of see like, okay, there's a little statistics graph that can show that will show you how many drops on average there are per month, and a drop equates to at least one sale. Do not hear me say a drop equates to one sale. A drop equates to at least one sale. And so, like, okay, this item has at least 50 drops a month. So that's at least 50 sales a month. And so you're like, okay, if this item sells 50 per month, and there's two sellers, well, then I can do the math to realize, okay, if there's two other sellers and I'm going to price close to their price so we can all share the buy box, then if there's going to be now three sellers, maybe, I could do the math to see how many I want to send in. If you are not confident in that, always send in a conservative amount at first. It's always better to wish you had sent more to Amazon than to realize you sent way too many to Amazon. So be conservative until you start getting used to that skill. It's a new skill. We're going to do some reps, we're going to gain some muscle, and we're going to be able to improve over time. And so, and buying multiples during Q4, it's a whole nother animal compared to the rest of the year. And so it's a new skill, but it's learnable, totally learnable and doable. So send in a test amount, and if it sells like super fast, even faster than you thought, then maybe on the reorder or the replen, when you go back and sending in more, go a little bit deeper. But always
Yeah.
be conservative with that decision.
Yeah. We still do test shipments as well. That's not
Yep.
something that, and now our test shipment might be bigger than it was 5 years ago because we've gained more confidence over time about how to gauge the numbers according to what Keepa says. But we still aren't going to go crazy deep on something until we know from our own experience how it's going to function.
Yep.
All right, this is the last question I have, unless anybody has a last minute question that they want to put in the chat or the Q&A. This has been really great. Y'all have been asking some really good questions. Do tanking prices get worse during Q4?
I feel like sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, it depends on, what happens with tanking prices is if supply goes up and demand does not go up to meet it. If supply increases but the demand does not increase, then the prices usually tank. But during Q4, it's almost a guarantee that demand is going to increase. So it's almost like you want to make sure that the supply is not increasing greater than the demand is increasing. Then that might involve tanking prices. But for the most part, usually taking prices when there's way too much supply that's not meeting the demand. And so it's another part of reading a Keepa graph. You can see in a Keepa graph how many particular sellers are your competition at any particular point in time. You can see what it's been like in the past, what it's like currently, and you can see, oh, this item's supply is trending upward. So I might make a better decision with how deep I go on that particular purchase because the supply is trending upward. Or you can be like, no, the supply is going down, which if the supply goes down and demand goes up, prices go up, baby. So that's a good situation. So reading that
Yeah,
Keepa graph helps you get a little bit more confidence in making the decision that you need.
yeah, because tanking prices aren't a given and rising prices aren't a given. There are some items that consistently every year you can look at their Keepa graph, they're going to get higher during Q4. There's
Yep.
others that consistently are going to get lower during Q4. You just have to look at that data and make your decision based on data, not on gut instinct.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so those are the questions that we have. Stephen, wrap us up.
Yeah, so if you're excited about what is possible when it comes to selling on Amazon in Q4, because Q4 is just an amazing opportunity, and you're thinking about the momentum that you're going to gain because of Q4, we want to keep that momentum going year round. And that's why we offer our Momentum FBA program. Every single month, we drop a new mini course, a new co-working slash Q&A session, a monthly focus session, a growth session. Being able to have that kind of accountability with every other month a certain skill sprint giving you exactly daily activities to what to focus on, what to ignore, what to do next. And some of the cool thing is like, okay, the retail arbitrage skill sprint has been going on for 17 days now. You don't have to start on day 17. You can go back and look at day one. And you can even go back and look, even like if like sometime in the future, like if you're like, no, I don't want to do the retail right now. Like if it's March, well, you can start a retail arbitrage skill sprint in March. It'll still be there waiting for you. So really great opportunity to have, um, the basically two live calls a month and four opportunities a month to learn something new. And we tell everyone the most important part of every Amazon seller's success: is putting action to what you learn. We love giving you stuff to learn, and it's fun to learn, but the most money is made on the action. So we encourage people to take action, and we will celebrate your wins with you and help you through whatever struggles you have along the way.
And we encourage you to take action by gearing what we're teaching around taking action. What we're
Yes.
teaching you is not theoretical, it's not hypothetical. It is based on taking action, do these things, and you will have these results. We want you to succeed. We want you to be able to make daily sales. That is the goal of Momentum FBA, is to help sellers be able to make daily sales in their FBA business so that they can scale it eventually to a full-time income. And in order to make those daily sales, we're giving you tools in your toolbox to use. We're giving you the roadmap. I don't know how many metaphors can I put in there, but Momentum FBA is our best place for you right now to rock this Q4 and be ready for 2026 with what you're learning and putting into practice this Q4. We would love to see you there. You will get access to the Q4 bonus masterclass next week. You'll get access to that RA Sprint. Those are just, icing on the cake for the weekly sessions that we have. And that restriction buster that we did last month that you'll have access to is worth the price of a 1 month more. It's worth the price of more than 1 month of a membership. And at
Yeah,
40,
only $49 a month. I mean, it's insane.
it really is. So $49 is the discount price right now. Fulltimefba.com/momentum. We are so looking forward to seeing you on the inside.
Yes, looking forward to that. And we will also look forward to seeing you tomorrow for our final session of the Amazon Q4 Income Accelerator workshop. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be talking about really good stuff using Q4 to really snowball your profits during Q4 and into 2026. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. God bless. Be well. We love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.